Marketing Dividends, presented by the Australian Association of National Advertisers, inspiring responsible, innovative and respected marketing.
Let's turn our attention to the challenges facing Australia's leading advertisers, and in particular today, how to create distinct customer experiences across a portfolio of multiple brands. And to take us through it, James Hier, CEO of MEC, is here with me in studio, and also Mark Reinke. He's Chief Customer Experience Officer at Suncorp, and he'll be here to discuss how the insurance giant is restructuring its business to deal with some of the accelerated change we're seeing in marketing. Welcome, James. Welcome to the program. Let's just rewind a bit. So explain to me the background of the restructure that I just referenced.
The background, Nadine, is that the market is changing very quickly, and we have re-architected our business to put our customer at the centre. So what that means is we talk to our customers and they're increasingly feeling overwhelmed with change, complexity and choice. They want to make good choices, but they're not sure how. So we're re-architecting our business to help our customers make good choices and take positive action. So a lot of change happening there. How do you actually get a company change fit to accommodate all of this accelerated change and the stuff that basically humans are not good at embracing? I think, James, if you subscribe to the fact that change will never be this slow again, then that's an issue that's on the top of most companies' agendas at the moment. I think particularly CEOs and boards are very mindful of the reducing longevity of businesses. In the 1960s, the average business in the 1960s, the average Fortune 500 business was 60 years. Today, the average lifespan of a company is only 16, so it's falling really quickly. And one of the reasons for that is change. And today, consumers are changing so quickly that it's very important that companies set themselves for change and have that as a key mantra.
Yeah, because it's not just technology that's changing, it's everything. So how do you bring people along with you in your messaging in particular?
I think in the past, Nadine, companies have been more focused on making one big change and then holding that change for 3 or 4 years. The challenge with that today is customer behaviour is changing so quickly that you risk being left behind. And so it's more important to make a number of smaller changes to what you do and how you do it, so that you don't get to a point after a couple of years where you're over here and your customers are over there and you have to make really fundamental and difficult changes to get to where your customers are, which can be very expensive for shareholders and very difficult for staff.
Lots of multiple little changes. How do you know that the changes you're doing are appropriate or right for your business and not just a band-aid across the business problem?
I think that's a good question, James. You've got to work very hard, as I mentioned, to make a series of smaller changes rather than focus on just one periodic larger change. And given that Suncorp is quite famous for scenario planning, looking 10, 15 years out, you've been talking about smaller changes. What about the larger changes that are coming on the horizon, in particular for your business model? Autonomous vehicles being one that must be giving you a headache. Can you plan for that type of change? I think it's hard to predict how those changes will come together, James, but you can certainly plan and prepare for them. So autonomous vehicles, as an example, is an example of how people are changing their mobility needs, as is share economy ideas like Uber or BlaBlaCar, all of which it's hard to predict exactly how they're going to come together. What we're doing is experimenting now. We're not waiting for those changes to play themselves out. We're working with global partners, we're putting new models in place, we're experimenting so that we're not locked out of those changes once it's completely evident about how they'll transpire.
Mark, I hope you don't mind me saying that I really enjoy your title, Chief Customer Experience Officer. That was not always your title, and it was part of this whole change, I guess, in philosophy at Suncorp to the one Suncorp business model. So what does that change in title, I suppose, really reflect about that broader change?
I think, Nadine, what I would take out of that is that the customer's in the driver's seat and Suncorp is re-architecting its business completely to be able to focus around the customer. So it's much more than a title, I would say. For Suncorp, we have moved from a series of vertical businesses to a platform, which is very bold, I think, for a financial services business. So what that means in reality is that we design one customer experience rather than multiple experiences by product. We remove all of the friction and barrier to a customer getting to the services and solutions that they want. We make them available to them, whether it's in a store, by phone, on a digital device. However they want to do it, we're setting up our business to respond.
So Suncorp, 14 brands in the financial sector, quite an unusual number. If I look at the one Suncorp, is there a dissonance between your current portfolio structure and potentially something that Suncorp has called out, which is the need to simplify?
No, I don't think so, James, at all. I mean, it is unusual for any financial services business to have a portfolio of 14 brands. And in our case, we've got brands like Shannon's, Hier, Suncorp, AANA. They're some of the strongest brands in the market. But I think we've got more opportunities than ever to solve customer problems, to make it easier for customers to find the solution that they're looking for. So we're making it easier within brands. So if I take a brand like AANA, at the moment it provides a range of needs around insurance. In 2017, you'll start to see AANA provide a simpler range of expanded services for health, for teaching your kids to drive, to build a car, to build a business. And then we'll be creating pathways across brands so we can help our customers find solutions that one of our brands can't provide through another brand. So we're focused very much on making it simpler. We're a multi-brand business, I would say, James. We believe that it's not a one-size-fits-all world. So we're committed to multiple brands, but we're also committed to making those brands quite compelling and much easier for customers to navigate.
Right, and there's no dissonance between the idea of this platform which creates customer experiences across the brands to commoditising those brands and it feeling that each one is potentially the same?
No, quite the reverse, I think now, James. We've got many more tools to be able to create experiences that are really different for customers. So by adopting a platform approach, which is where we're building our business, we're able to connect a whole range of services that are really different, not just your simple and traditional insurance services, and curate them or organise them in a way that's really simple and compelling for customers. So, no, I think we've got more opportunities to deliver value for customers than we've ever had before.
So quite a big brief, quite a few balls up in the air right now. You've been quite successful, though, so far. Last year, you were ranked on, I think it was #1 of CMO Magazine's inaugural CMO 50 list of Australia's most innovative and effective marketers. So what was your thinking, I guess, to get you to that point? What's your thinking in terms of strategy now?
I think, Nadine, that the thing that's foremost in my mind at the moment is globalisation. We're an Australian-New Zealand business, but the forces shaping our business are increasingly global. New business models, new brands, capital that moves around the world fairly seamlessly at the moment. So I'm very much focused on looking at how to synthesise all of those changes at a global level. And maybe to give you an example, we're working at the moment with partners in the US looking at the psychology, how the psychology of money is changing, how people are differently attached to money than they've ever been, particularly millennials. We're working in Spain at the moment with how online reputation translates to offline behaviour. We're looking very much at the UK in terms of how big financial services businesses have been able to completely re-platform digital services for their customers. And we're going back to basics, Nadine, as well, with behavioural economics, really understanding how people make decisions and why they do. So we're looking across the world and we're bringing all of that together in Australia to create unique experiences for our customers.
Right. That's a lot of change, a lot of what feels like the new marketing sciences. What hasn't changed? What is it about your customers that you're seeing that is fundamental to the business offering that you've put forward, that can tap into what you see as fundamental desires or needs of your customer?
I think it's fair to say, James, that the way people are satisfying their needs is changing rapidly. However, to your point, the underlying needs haven't changed, and maybe they've been that way for many thousands of years. So if I can take an example, now the need to belong, the need to create meaning, I've never seen stronger. So the new models that you're seeing, whether that be Uber, Airbnb, what they're saying to us at the moment is, yes, you had B2B, business-to-business marketing, you had business-to-consumer marketing. What you're now seeing is C2C, consumer-to-consumer. So that reflects that need to belong, to create some meaning in a world that's increasingly getting faster. The business models that are doing best are C2C.
And lastly, a lot of inspiration from different companies, different markets, new modern sciences. What about your personal experiences? I saw in 2011 you crossed the desert raising money for young people. Was there anything you were able to drag back to Suncorp in order to inform your thinking now?
You're right, James. In 2011, we crossed the Simpson Desert, and there probably were a few things that are highly relevant to what I do today. The two things that I think are most striking is a sense of purpose. In that case, we had a purpose, which of course is to cross the desert, but our overarching, our noble purpose was to get younger people out of old age care. So I think that's really important. Whether you're running a business or crossing a desert, you need a purpose that gets you out of bed beyond the very difficult, day-to-day challenges that you'll have. The other thing that struck me very much in doing that is the old adage that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And it's a very long way on your own, so together was better, and very true for companies and change as well.
Well, on that note, Mark Reinke, Chief Customer Experience Officer at Suncorp, thank you very much for being here with us. And James Hier, of course, CEO of MEC. All right, we have to take a short break. When we return, we will touch on some of those themes, in fact, with CabCharge's CEO Andrew Skelton. It's a challenging world for old technology. We'll be back in just a moment.
Marketing Dividends, presented by the Australian Association of National Advertisers, inspiring responsible, innovative and respected marketing.